And welcome back to Charging Stack, where we talk to people reshaping mobility on land, water, and now with three wheels. We've kind of become a three-wheeler experts at this point. It all started back in the day with Tug Innovations and then Twike, and now we're back with another fascinating project called Trinova. Joining us is Markus Scholten, an automotive engineer who worked with BMW, Karmann, and even Fisker before founding Trinova. His goal, building a high-performance electric three-wheeler that's compact, safe, and actually fun to drive. Here with us again one more time, Markus. It's great to have you here.
Hi, good morning, guys. Nice to be here.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Markus, I'd like to start with a easy intro. So
Okay.
kind of to talk about the story that sparked Trinova. So you had an impressive career in automotive, in the BMW, Karmann, Fisker, Karma. So what made you want to start your own EV company? What was kind of the spark that started it all?
Well, I don't think I ever had the intention of starting my own company. That just kind of happened by itself. I was, when I first came to the United States, I lived in Detroit and traffic was relatively light. I didn't have any issues with traffic there. But I've always been following, since I was a teenager, in 1980, General Motors showed the Lean machine, which was a tilting three-wheeler. And it fascinated me back then. And I thought, why isn't anybody building something like this? And then waiting 20, 30 years, nobody ever built anything. And as I was saying, Detroit, the issues were never there. Anywhere else I lived, there was never really any traffic issues. But when I came to the United States, to California, and when Fisker closed in 2012, I went to a job interview in LA, and the drive there was about 30 or 45 minutes. Wasn't that big of a problem. But getting back home was 2.5 hours. When I got home, my wife asked me, how did the interview go? And I'm like, well, if I'm going to get this job, I'm going to buy a motorcycle. And she's like, I'm going to get the job, and she's actually, it's her fault. She's the one that said, well, why don't you build that bike that you've been designing? And basically that's how it started, so I started with the RC model, to see how I can get the tilt system to function. And then when I saw that worked, I built the scale 1-to-1 with the Aprilia RSV 1000R motor, because I wanted it to be fast. I wanted it to be powerful. I just didn't want another inner city commuter, something that only goes 35 miles an hour. I wanted it to be very exciting, very powerful, fast. I love fast stuff. I've been a big fan of the M division of BMW. I've owned a few of their cars. And I love performance, so it's all about performance. And yeah, that's basically how that all came together. And then I built the first prototype, and then somehow the market wasn't really ready for it. The people, the investors that I spoke to, they didn't really see the need for it. They didn't see the purpose of it. Those that need it can't afford it, and those that can't afford it don't need it. So it's like, okay. So I started my own business of automotive engineering. And then over the years, I've built some really nice concept cars, prototype cars. I've helped the electric vehicle startups in the area here in California design their vehicles, engineer their vehicles, do a lot of concept work for them before it gets handed off to production development. Yeah, and then in 2021, pretty much everything came to a standstill, including my company. And so the only choice I had was okay, let's see if the market is ready for this three-wheeler now. And then obviously with the electric motors and the electric infrastructure where it is now, people are a lot more accepting to it, because now they're sitting in the electric cars, but they're still in traffic.
Yeah.
There's not a solution. It's now they're just sitting quiet. So the electric car hasn't changed anything for the average commuter. And I'm thinking now that people are more acceptant to electric. It won't be anything new, but now the three-wheeler and the tilting mechanism of the three-wheeler, that'll be super exciting for them. It'll be a motorcycle, fun, a lot of fun. I mean, the prototypes that I've driven, I never want to get out. I just want to stay inside all day, carving left and right, left and right, left and right. So much fun.
Markus, just a question on what you just said. So it's really interesting. Why go with 3 wheels? What made you commit to that specific format? Why not a bike? Why not something on 2 wheels, maybe, or 4 wheels?
It would be too easy.
Okay.
Everybody's doing 2 and 4 wheels. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to make things easy.
Not boring. This is way more fun.
Exactly. It's boring. And if it's easy, everybody's doing it. Just look around.
Yeah,
Mhm.
seen before. Yeah.
No, the reason why the 3 wheels is the balance system that I've developed is a lot more easier on 3 wheels. I mean, I could maybe make it 4 wheels, but then there's a lot of regulatory issues with 4 wheels. People would consider it as a car and they have to do crash and roll over and impact this and impact there. It's maybe something I can do in the future when the big money is in and the company's rolling very well. Sure, we can look at 4 wheels, but right now the 3 wheel is classified as a motorcycle pretty much all over the world. And then the width that I have, I'm at between 850 and 900 millimeters wide. So I'm narrower than most of the touring motorcycles, which will allow me to split lanes where it's legal, of course. But I'm thinking that once a vehicle like this becomes more mainstream, the government entities will be allowing more accepting to lane splitting. Because it's the safest way to travel and fastest way to travel.
Yeah.
We encourage our listeners, and we provide a lot of visuals of Trinova prototypes. It's looking gorgeous. I have to say, it's looking really interesting, especially
you.
that orange prototype. I mean, I don't care which color, but especially like it's really caught in my brain that orange, bright orange color. It looks really, really futuristic.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's say for the people first time seeing your prototype, your product, how would you describe the Trinova, let's say in a few words, few sentences?
Yeah, that's always the hardest thing. How do I explain it? It's like this elevator pitch, and I've been doing this for I don't know how many years now, and I still don't have a good one.
Look,
No,
it's a motorcycle, but it's not a motorcycle. It's
right. It's in between a car and a motorcycle. So the easiest way to explain it is it's a motorcycle with car comfort and car-like safety, but a motorcycle has agility and performance.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound good, but
Yeah, I
that's
think
basically what it is.
we can brainstorm maybe a name. We had a really interesting German company called Soul Motors. Maybe you heard about them. They do really, really interesting looking electrical bikes. But it's they have a name. They have a brand new name. They called it Nopad because it's not a moped. It's not a bike, but it's a nopad, as in no pedals.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
so maybe some play on words for the future could be
maybe it's
interesting.
something that category defining. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
basically what the name stands for. Trinova is tri, obviously, for the 3 wheels, and then Nova is new. The beginning. So that's basically how the name comes together. So,
Mhm.
but to just go to somebody and say, "Yeah, well, it's a Trinova."
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a new 3-wheeler.
You have to accept it.
Yeah, just take it as that. Take it
Take it as that.
at book value.
Exact. You kind of briefly touched on the experience. You said you cannot get out of it because how good is it? If you can, I know it's gonna be probably hard. What's the experience like behind the wheel of actually driving one of your vehicles?
I don't know. If you've ever ridden a motorcycle through a canyon, then the carving factor of leaning the motorcycle through the turn is the most exhilarating thing of riding the motorcycle. Yeah, because going straight is practically boring. I mean, it's not what the motorcycle was invented for. And if you take it through the canyon and you carve through the canyons, the sense of freedom to move is very natural, and that's basically what the Trinova does too. When everything in nature leans in some shape or form. If you watch a runner, a 200-meter runner when he goes around the turn, he's leaning on your bicycle.
Mhm.
You lean, every time you have to lose your balance or you lose your balance, you're leaning in some shape or form to catch your balance. So it's all about the feeling of freedom, and the Trinova has really nicely captured this natural lean. When you ride it, it's nothing forced. You don't have to really do anything. The sensors on board tell you this is how far we're going to go down. At this speed, this is how far I'm going to allow you to go down, and it's very natural. It's like a roller coaster, just not without the shake. I don't know how to
I mean,
explain it.
I think Trinova is like a really, really, potentially scary, but still very, very comfy roller coaster. I've been to roller coasters; they're definitely not comfy. They definitely don't have the feeling what I saw in the video when you kind of lean over, and it kind of leans back. A lot of, especially those old wooden roller coasters. I don't see
No.
Trinova as that one.
It's not, it's not as uncomfortable and shaky as a roller coaster. It's an old man's roller coaster.
Yes, exactly,
It's nice.
exactly.
It's nice and smooth. It just goes nice, and it's like, I don't know.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Formula One drivers or MotoGP riders before the race? They're
Yeah.
always in these positions, and then they
Yeah.
visualize how they, and that's how
Yeah.
that feels like. And you're just sitting back, you're relaxed, you got your handlebars, you accelerate, and it's just such a beautiful motion. And then
Awesome.
when I was riding the prototypes in the LA riverbed, just carving back and forth was so nice that after the day, we spent probably 10 hours shooting the videos that day with a friend of mine. And when I got back into my car and I drove around the turn, I was expecting it to lean, but it didn't. It's like, wait, this is, you're right.
Start leaning, please.
Yeah, it was a very odd feeling getting back in the car. It just didn't, the car didn't feel right, because now I'm leaning this way and I'm like, wait, this is not how it's supposed to be. But then when I got back into the Trinova, and it's a very natural movement. You're sitting back in a nice chair, and it's harmony. It's a very, very beautiful feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
like
explained it
how you
perfectly.
mentioned the sense of freedom with all this. It kind of reminds me of riding a horse. It's kind of a modern type of horse. That kind of freedom you have to go anywhere at any speed on your own. So I mean, it's innately cool what you're doing here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, people that ride motorcycles or bicycles, they know what it feels like. They have.
Yeah.
If you put away the exertion of riding the bicycle and just focus on the ride itself, or carving down a hill, it's very beautiful. I mean, it's very, and now with the electric motor, it's it's pure bliss. I mean, it's just so quiet and comfortable. It's nice. People never want to get out.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
and actually, we recently seen a ton of companies who do these e-bike conversions. I mean, it's
Mhm.
so cool. You have a bike, you just buy a small gadget, attach it to your bike, and now all of a sudden you're going 40 kilometers per hour. So
Right. Yeah.
that kind of freedom. So that's what you're trying to achieve with Trinova. So yeah.
And speaking of numbers, really good numbers on Trinova, right? Sorry to interrupt, but like 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Well,
a lot of speed.
that's really good.
yeah. I think it's actually going to be better than that.
Wow.
Wow.
The version that I'm working on now, which is going to be the introduction version, is going to be driven by axial flux, by 2 axial flux motors, each producing 75 kilowatts. So we're going to
Each
have
75 kilowatts.
each. Yeah. So the Trinova,
Oh my.
I'm going to call it the MotoGP Trinova.
Wow.
It's going to have 150 kilowatt nominal, and then 260 kilowatt peak. So it'll be a lot quicker than 3 seconds.
Wow. So you're saying each motor 75, so we're talking around 150, so it's like 220 horsepower, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
On
like
on
Hayabusa or something.
on a 300, maybe 400 kilogram vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just to mention, my car has 65 horsepower. It's 1 ton. It's 1 ton.
Tell us, can you break down for us a bit more about your suspension system, about your, let's call it, tilting system? How does it
Mhm.
work, and why is it safer or more stable than any normal trike, let's say?
Well, without leaving the cat out of the bag, I mean, it's I haven't I've the patent's at the lawyer's office, but it hasn't been filed because it's extremely simple. And if people see how simple it is, they'll just simply steal it. Unfortunately, unfortunately, a few people have tried and they haven't succeeded yet. Luckily,
Mm-hmm.
but the system is it's basically designed to feel like a motorcycle. You know, it does exactly what a motorcycle does, and to without giving you the details of the suspension system, the Trinova doesn't know it has three wheels. It thinks it's a two-wheeler. So if I take away the balance system, it'll fall over. It doesn't stand
Interesting.
upright at all. It immediately falls over. And then when the balance system is implemented, it's the only thing that makes it understand, okay, I have three wheels, you know, but as soon as it rides, it does know it has three wheels, you know. So that means that when I'm riding along a road and the road has a very strong crowning, the Trinova will stay upright. And then when the intersection comes and the crowning disappears, you know, I don't know if you have those type of roads where you guys are, but here in the United States, there's a lot of roads that have a very strong crowning. You know, they have
Mm-hmm.
so that the water can run off. And then over the years, they just become more and more crowned. And then the intersection is flat. So when the Trinova goes on that position, it won't even know that's there. It'll just go straight. The suspension does what it needs to do and it'll continue going.
Wow.
The three wheelers that have been on the market to date, they need very complex algorithms to understand that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Carver,
Sorry.
the Carver one from the Netherlands.
Oh,
Not sure. I'm not
unfortunately,
sure. I'm
not
not
sure.
sure.
Not
They
sure.
was built in 2006, and I think they went out of business in 2010 or 11. And their tilt system is completely different to what the Trinova has. And they had pretty much that issue that when they went to a road with a strong crowning, the cab would viciously go left, right, you know, and it'll give you the feeling of you're going to fall over. And the Trinova doesn't do that. The scissor function that I have in the back um, immediately adapts to any road surface.
I mean,
Awesome.
uh,
Awesome.
now that you mentioned the tilting system, the balancing, we just saw recently your video you posted on LinkedIn, you trying to push over the Trinova, and you know how, regardless of how much force you use, it just stays upright. It doesn't
Mhm.
fall. I mean, when we saw that, we were super impressed because that was a lot of force pushing it, and I mean, it's easy to say it's much safer than a bike. Not maybe as a 1 or 2 tons car, but definitely safer than a bike. I mean, that's something we haven't seen before in a trike.
Oh yeah, no, by far it's that's basically the idea of the Trinova is to be the safest motorcycle on the planet. I'm not going to be the safest car. I don't have the crumble zones and all that, but I do have front and rear impact protection systems, patented protection systems that allow the vehicle to act a certain way, kind of like a Formula One car in front impact, so that the driver is constantly safe within that steel cage. You know, so it's by far the safest motorcycle. But back to that balance system, the only reason why it actually folded over and came back and forth is because the balance system itself is based on an Arduino Uno. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, yeah, of course, microcontroller.
It's a hobby board that
Yeah,
you use at home, and the CPU is relatively slow. Um, I hooked it up to my laptop. Unfortunately, I never took a video of that, but I had the program inside of my laptop where it reacted a lot faster, and then you weren't there. It was almost impossible to push it over, you know, because the CPU immediately understood, oh, there's a force coming from the side. I have to counteract, you know,
Mm,
and online I get a lot of questions about, oh, what happened? Yeah, I did that with the Arduino Uno, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So online I get a lot of questions like, what happens if there's a strong side wind?
Yeah.
The algorithm on board the vehicle will understand that there's a force coming from somewhere that's not supposed to be there, and will just counteract it. So you will never have that issue of having to force or lean against that side wind. You know.
That reminds me of the Mercedes commercial with the chicken when they release the
Yeah.
magic
Yeah.
suspension
Yeah.
system when the head
Yeah.
stays
Once the
still.
head is focused, it goes
Yeah.
where the body goes. You know, the
Yeah.
head stays focused. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
basically what the Trinova is going to do. It's not going to it's not going to go in the wrong way down the road. It's just going to lean against the wind to a point where it's like, okay, this is how much force I have to bring it. I'll bring it upright again and continue going straight. So without even knowing that there's a strong side wind.
Wow.
Markus,
That's
now
quite interesting.
I'd like to raise a new topic, kind of related. So you're currently raising funds for production. Earlier when we talked, you said, okay, we need the funds, and once we have the funds, it's 100x from where we are now. So,
That's correct. Yeah.
kind of investors or partners are you hoping to attract? Maybe one of our listeners here would be really interested to invest in your project.
I ask anybody with money. That's an easy question to answer. Anybody with money. So basically, what we need is about $5 million. That'll allow us to go to build 2 or 3, maybe even 4 test vehicles, so that we can test durability, do the homologation, the certification process that we have to go through before we can get these vehicles street legal. I also want to add 2 test vehicles for summer testing and winter testing. And most important there would be the winter testing to see how the vehicle reacts when the road is not iced over, but the temperature is to a point where you can't ride a motorcycle anymore.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
freezing is too low.
Yeah, so around or below freezing, and then see how the vehicle acts when it hits an ice patch where a lot of motorcycles fall or lose control. So we're going to see how we can counteract that, so that the bike always stays upright in some shape or form. You know, obviously it's not going to be an ice bike. I mean, unless you put spikes on it, then you can take her out on the ice, I'm sure. Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
sure there's somebody
kind of
out there that's going to be like, oh, maybe put some spikes on there.
Maybe we should.
so that's kind of the first goal you'd go for after the funding. So kind of what I wanted to ask further would be, what kind of business model are you chasing for here? Is it direct sales? Is it licensing? Maybe fleet partnerships? I mean, could be possible. I don't know if you maybe.
Well, the first vehicles will be direct sales. I'm going to fall back on the Tesla model, where we either sell them on the internet and then ship the vehicle to wherever the customer is. And then the second model is here in the United States. We have these dealerships that are called motorsports dealerships, and they usually sell a variety of motorcycles, not just one brand, but they sell a number of brands like Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, all under one shop or under one roof. They sell side-by-sides, they sell the Can-Am, they sell the Spider, they sell the T-Rex. So they sell a variety of motorsport vehicles and distribute them all around the country. So the main goal of distribution would be to approach that network and then fall back on the motorsport network to distribute the vehicles. You know.
So who do you picture? Let's say as a first customer, as someone who, how do you picture like your customers? Is it like a commuter, enthusiast, and again, fleet buyers?
Yeah, well, that's simple. I mean, the first customer is me. A person a person that used to ride a motorcycle, but due to responsibilities and children at home, you know, the wife is like, you shouldn't be riding a motorcycle anymore. You know, you've got responsibilities, you've got children that need you to come home. So basically, those are the people that I think is going to be the first customers. Those guys that used to ride motorcycles, that miss riding their motorcycle, and want that feeling back of riding a motorcycle, but aren't willing to take the risk of riding a motorcycle anymore. You know, and that's basically what this bike was built for. The fact that it's 900 millimeters wide is a limit that I set myself, because I'm like, how wide can I be to safely split lanes? And I know in some countries lane splitting is not allowed, and in a lot of countries it's tolerated when the traffic is backed up. Here in California, it is legal, but there's a small little segment that have to have the Senate to change for us so that we're allowed to use a 3-wheeler 2-lane split. And that was just, that just kind of came by itself. I went back and I was looking. It's like, well, how wide is the police motorcycle here in California? And the police motorcycle is 980 millimeters wide. And I'm like, okay, if I can be narrower than the police motorcycle, then I can go where they go. And
Yeah.
so basically,
Nice.
Trinova can go anywhere where the police can go. And
Nice.
so the customer is somebody like me. That's it. That's the first customer.
Yeah, I see
And
you
then
have your target audience, pointed out. So it's I mean, I must say it's a smart approach. That's kind of one of the few things that stop me, that I have this mental blockade in my mind. Okay, I would love to ride a motorcycle, but there's just so much risk tied to it. And if I could have a vehicle like Trinova that eliminates at least 70% of all that risk, I still get the thrill of riding fast on a motorcycle. So I think that's definitely something people would love to look in.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's the main reason why it even exists. One, it's my wife's fault, and then two is it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That can be a marketing campaign, kind of, men who are influenced by their wives'
Yeah.
guidance regarding
Well, I mean,
motorcycle.
No, that angle could work.
when you're married, a lot of the decisions go through, especially when it comes to purchasing some form of transportation. The wife is involved, and I've walked through a lot of these motorsports dealerships, and I've seen couples walking through, and the wife is always looking for the least powerful motorcycle, the least aggressive motorcycle. They're like, oh, look at this chopper, how nice it is. It's like, yeah, it's only got 55 horsepower. I want that Panigale.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's too fast, it's too dangerous. I need 180, I want 200 horsepower, I want to be 0 to 60 in 1 second. So men still have the boys inside of them. They tend to lose, how do you say, the sense of reality when they go into stores like that. They become little boys and like, ooh, look at that. And what I'm picturing is that the couple walks into this motorsports dealership, and then they see the Trinova, and they see a Panigale, and they see a Aprilia, and the performance of the MotoGP Trinova is at 200 or 150 kilowatt, 200 and some horsepower. That the husbands will be like, oh wow, that's cool, and the wife sees and she's like, oh, that looks safe. And
So
then
balancing both sides.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like having an airplane with a parachute. So we have a motorcycle with 3 wheels with an extra leg. Yeah, and obviously the safety cell and the side impact protection, the front and rear impact protection that comes with it. And at a later stage, probably implement some form of AI that'll detect the gap between cars, and just become a second set of eyes. Yeah,
And that can be also a great message to any investors who listen to this podcast. So this is a product that not only looks great, performs great, but also has a very good niche audience. And that's it is niche, but it's pretty broad. It's not something that's super uncommon, but it's definitely touching one point of the market that hasn't been kind of developed before, touched before, or carved before, let's say.
Right. Well, in the first year, we're going to be targeting about 0.1 to 0.5% of the motorcycle market, and 0.1% is 2,800 vehicles. So it's a relatively big market. There's about 850,000 motorcycles in the state of California alone. So 0.1% will be a challenge for us to produce that kind of the amount of motorcycles. So the percentage that we're targeting is extremely small, and that I've received over 500 pre-orders, or how do you say, not pre-orders, people put
Signups?
themselves in line, and I have 12 pre-orders or pre-sales motorcycles that have been sold already. So 12 have already been sold, and the rest are position holders or first come first served basis. So they're on the wait list. So right off the bat, as the funding becomes available, I have clients that are waiting for this vehicle. It's not like I'm going to have to build them and then look for clients. I already have them.
Can we know the price or something close to that?
Well, the target price for the entry level will somewhere be around 18,000. And between 18 and 22,000 with options, and then the GP version will be somewhere around 35,000.
I mean, that's really, how to say, whenever we check new motorcycles, new EV bikes, they are all in that price range. I mean, for that price point, what you are offering with Trinova, with this vehicle, that kind of
technology,
that's kind of a great differentiator you have here. And I mean, the hardware really is your main differentiator, the security, all the balancing system. So I'd like to ask you, since hardware startups are always tough, probably tougher than software startups. So what's been the hardest part of getting Trinova off the ground regarding your hardware, regarding all the manufacturing?
Trying to find money.
Okay. So we're back to that again.
Everything up to now was easy.
Yeah, I mean,
it came with its challenges. I've had my fair share of crashes with the prototypes. Nothing serious. I mean, I never got injured. It's just the fact that I fell over where I didn't expect it to fall over. The one scenario, I was going backwards, and somehow the algorithm didn't understand what it was doing and just flopped it right over. I'm like, what the heck is going on now? So I made a mistake within the algorithm in the code that I wrote, where it didn't understand that it has to do stuff in reverse when it's in reverse. I just assumed I'll just flick a switch and the system will know what's happening. It didn't.
I mean, I presume you had
several hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask if there was ever a moment where you thought, "Oh shit, this is never going to work." Like, was there any kind of a moment for you in this process, or were you always 100% sure this is just a bump in the road, we'll make it out?
There was never really, the only bump in the road was that driving backwards. But once I had the remote control bike built, and I was able to play with the algorithms on the radio control bike on the scale version. Once that was built and once that worked, and I saw how it reacts and how it tilts and when it tilts and what I need to do to make it tilt, and even the remote control bike I could take a long slight turn. I mean, on the video it only shows the figure 8, but I was able to make it lean just enough to go a long turn. So I'm like, okay, once I had that built, I was 100% sure that it would work in reality. And then when I built the Aprilia powered first prototype, it worked like a charm. There was a couple of adjustments that I had to make here and there. The length of the swing arms to allow it to lean up to about 50 degrees. And there again, I fell back on the MotoGP. I'm like, how far does this thing have to lean over to go through a curve at a relatively high speed? And I can lean as far down as the MotoGP motorcycle. That could probably open the door and then lean further, but it's not. I don't think that's gonna work.
So this sounds like a ton of learning. So, I mean, taking into account your career in automotive, which is really extensive, you know the ins and outs of the automotive industry so far. So I'd like to ask, now when you've almost finished Trinova, I can say almost finished, What's one thing you learned about small EVs that companies you worked at or other companies tend to overlook? I mean, it's kind of common. All small EV manufacturers, small players like Trinova, always make some nice progress on fields where big automakers just can't do it.
Well, the thing is with a small small startup companies is that you wear a lot of hats. You wear the marketing hat, you wear the manufacturing hat, you're the engineer, you're the designer, you're everything. And I think that the small companies have the ability to move a lot faster than the big OEMs do. In the big OEMs that I've worked for, everything has to go through a meeting. Everything has to be decided by a team, has to be a team decision. And it's very cumbersome. It takes a very long time to get ideas to go through. And then in the small startup companies that I've worked with, Fisker Automotive One, at the beginning stages, in 2007, when they started, the team was about 20 people big, and it moved so fast. It was crazy how quickly we had the first prototypes and the first mules built. And that was really impressive to see how fast small teams can work when everybody is on the same page. I've also worked with startup companies where they started as a small team, and then the money came in, and the company grew so fast, so quickly, had so many people all of a sudden, that it hampered progress. It became more of a burden to get things through, because then all of a sudden everybody was there, everybody needed a purpose to work, everybody needed something to say, and it slowed the progress. And then these startup companies started spending millions and millions of dollars on overhead alone and didn't get the progress that they expected. Because the more people you bring into the kitchen, and we know, as the more chefs you have in the kitchen, the worse the soup gets. How long
Yeah,
it takes to make it.
we do
And
have
and
some
and
breaks,
that's
like
one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is that even when the money is available, don't start hiring like crazy. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but the core team that you had on board when you started is still willing to do a huge amount of work. You don't have to hire tons of people to get that work done. You just have to uh, keep that core team motivated. I don't know, give them a raise, whatever it is. But a lot of the people that in the core teams that I've worked with in these OEM companies, some of these guys, they were willing to work 24 hours a day, because they were so devoted to the program. The early days of Fisker Automotive, when we were building the show cars, probably the 5 days before the car had to go to the show, we were working 24/7. Nobody went home. We slept on the floor, and 5 minutes that we needed to sleep, and we continued building the cars. And I think a lot of startup companies forget that the core team that they have on board is really, really, really devoted to what you want to achieve. They all want to be part of that achievement. And when you bring people in, it dilutes that, and it takes the wind out of the sails, because now all of a sudden, you're defranchising these people that you have. You're taking away decisions, responsibilities from them, and that demotivates them. And with that demotivation comes a slowdown. And then it just becomes very expensive all of a sudden. Your program costs go from 100 million to 500 million overnight.
I have to say, Marcus, we spoke to you off camera, and we know your work schedule and your sleeping hours. So we can say Trinova is definitely,
Yeah.
a person who's leading the project is definitely fully devoted. I can say
Yeah.
just from looking outside. So if I can ask you, let's say, what is your long-term goal for Trinova? Do you want to stay niche, scale globally? Let's say let's do like a projection next 5 years, let's say.
Well, if I pull out the what is it called? the glass ball, the future-looking ball.
Yeah.
I understand the product Trinova itself will stay relatively niche. I don't want it. I don't want it to become mainstream. I want it to be. I will focus more on the high performance aspect of it. I want to be in the higher luxury category of it. I want to have it high performance and powerful, and those will be mainly made here in the United States and shipped all over the world. But then I would like to partner up with somebody overseas, either India or China or wherever, and they will make the mass market product. I'll license the balance system to them, and then they can focus on the mass market. They can do the lower performance vehicles. I had a conversation with a company from India last night, at 11 o'clock last night. So 4 hours of sleep. But anyways, they
that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, Markus.
and they are interested in the mass market. They want to go mass market. And when I told them the performance that I'm looking at, they're like, "Oh no, that's too much." And I'm like, "No, that's just for the United States market, for the Western developed world that we're going to go high performance. The rest of the world, I'm seeing them doing maybe 35, 45 kilowatt performance." 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds or 6 seconds, just like your normal commuter car, something that gets off the line relatively quickly. And that's, I think, where the core value of Trinova will be, is to license the balance system to a lot of OEMs around the world that want to go into this three-wheel segment. So that's my crystal ball vision, is to become a tilt system technology company that builds a really nice product on the side. And the really nice product that will be is the Trinova GP or the Motor GP version of it. And then if I can go visionary crazy, is maybe even have a race series with the Trinova, and it can either be combustion or electric. The bike is set up in such a way that it can work both ways. The balance system works on either combustion or electric. So there's that it doesn't differentiate between the two, So yeah, that would be my my dream, is to have a race series with these type of vehicles.
Beautiful. Fingers crossed.
Kind of like the
be
awesome. Have a Motor GP or a Motor Nova.
Trinova GP.
Yeah, Trinova GP. There you
go. Just like we kind of drain all the questions. We kind of shift into to the end. Just maybe one of the interesting questions: is there a city you would love to launch Trinova first, or see it on the streets of some city? I mean, you are living currently in California, but is there like a place you would love to see Trinovas cruise by?
Well,
is there like a favorite road or something?
Yeah, I mean, Munich has always been I've lived in Munich for about 6-7 years, and I love Munich. It's one of the coolest places on the planet, I think. And that would be really a nice place to launch a Trinova, and then use the Autobahn there to see the performance
Full
of the
blast.
Trinova. Right, yeah. One of the visions that I've had of how to launch the Trinova at a car show would be to launch it at the LA Auto Show, but then have it takes about 30 minutes to get from my house to LA without traffic. So to get from the Irvine Spectrum Center, where I used to live, to get to the LA Convention Center at 2 o'clock in the morning takes about 30 minutes. So
at
no
2
traffic.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's no traffic. So it takes about 30 minutes.
Okay.
But during the daytime, that same distance can take up to 2 hours. 2.5 hours, depending. At 8 o'clock in the morning, it takes about 2.5 hours. So the vision that I've had on how to present the Trinova to the world was to have a marketing guy on stage at the LA Auto Show, and then calling me up and say, "Hey, where you at?" And I'm like, "I'm at home."
Oh.
And they're like, "Hey, you have to present to Trinova in 30 minutes. And then I get into the car. I have the vision on my a camera on my head, and I walk up to the Trinova. I get into the Trinova. We'll have a helicopter flying over, filming me driving to the LA Auto Show, and passing all the cars, lane splitting all the way to LA in 30 minutes at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then riding on stage and saying, 'Here I am. What's the problem?'"
Yeah, that insanely cool. I mean, that
Yeah.
that would be really a game changer.
Yeah. So that would be how I'd present it to the world. Yeah. That's a dream come true right there.
That's
Yeah.
something.
Markus,
That's amazing. We
we've
definitely hope that happens one. I mean, or just part of it happens. Well, whenever
Oh, yeah, any segment of it is fine, right? Just
any
riding on
segment, yeah,
stage with it would be cool.
yeah.
I think we will exhaust maybe 95% of our questions. Now we've
Okay.
talked about a lot of topics here, and we have this final part of the interview, a kind of a lightning round, where we go through some one-liner questions with short answers. So these
Okay.
are kind of questions we can really spotlight, make good short videos for. So let's go into these few questions. First one would be, what's one feature on Trinova that you're most proud of, that you're proudest of?
The seating position, the way you sit inside the Trinova. I have the same seating position as I do in my M3, and it's very the position is very comfortable. It's very intuitive. The vision around it is very good. I've tried numerous positions. I've tried lying flat, upright, and when I fell back onto a BMW seating position, I'm like, hey, these guys know what they're doing.
These guys know.
Yeah. So you're sitting inside of like a 3 Series BMW, and it's very, very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Yeah, that's what I'm practically super proud of. Yeah, I like that.
Also, another one. What's the biggest misconception people have about three-wheelers and trikes?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people understand three-wheelers. I think when I approach them and I talk to them about a three-wheeler, the first thing that they think of is maybe a Harley Davidson with 2 wheels in the back.
Yeah.
Or they think back on the days when they were a little child and they had the big wheel, the big wheel in the front and the 2 in the back. Tricycle. I mean, the term tricycle somehow sounds derogatory. It doesn't sound very exciting. It doesn't sound
Sounds boring.
powerful. Yeah, it sounds like a toy.
Yeah.
I ride a tricycle.
Yeah.
Why you ride a bicycle? You don't know how to ride a bicycle?
Yeah.
It's a bicycle with training wheels, so I don't like the term tricycle. I prefer three-wheeler, and then maybe at some point in time, the term Trinova becomes synonymous like SUV,
Yeah,
that everybody refers to a three-wheeler as a Trinova.
Yeah, that's what we
Or a
mentioned.
tri-bike or something.
Go for a category, like those guys
Right.
at Spell Motors, like they have the notepad.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Here's another one, a quick one. What's the worst traffic jam you've ever been in?
Oh, sure. It has to be here in LA on the 405. I believe there was an accident, and it took me about 4.5 hours to get home.
Oh my God.
I was on a job site at a client in Pasadena, and the drive home it took about 4 or 5 hours. It was terrible, and there was no way around because all the other side highways, the 5, the 110, they were all blocked up because of that one accident. And it's terrible.
Yeah,
Damn.
Because it's not like in Germany. I've been in traffic jams, but there you just stand still.
yeah,
And you can get out of your car and you wait, until they clear the road, and then after about an hour or 2 hours of standing around talking to everybody that's there, making new friends, you get back in your car and you drive off.
that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, but here in LA, it doesn't stop. It just moves very slowly.
Oh,
At like 5 or 6 miles an hour. So you can't get out, you can't talk to anybody, you just sit there and you wait. And all the time. Yep. And you just see your gas needle going down. You're like, oh, I'm running out of gas.
And you drive the M3, so I can imagine.
Yeah. And then you have to go to the you're like, oh, how do I get off this freeway?
and
that wasn't fun.
we have one last one. So finish the sentence kind of question. So Trinova is the future of blank.
Of commuting, the future of transportation, the future of the 9 to 5 form of commuting. I mean, we have to make a change somewhere along the line. I mean, what's going on right now is not sustainable, whether electric or combustion. On my LinkedIn, I just posted that the California Department of Transportation had determined that the average person here in the here in California spends 119 hours in traffic every year. 119 hours. That's almost 3 working weeks just sitting in traffic. That's a vacation on Mallorca for 3 weeks.
It's almost
Yeah.
like 3
So
days.
that's what you're throwing out the window, and that needs to change. And adding lanes and adding infrastructure won't change that problem. And the thing is that we just need to get away from the perception that we need to have 4 seats occupied by ourselves. Most of the cars, I mean, when I'm sitting in traffic driving to work, 80% of the cars is just one person in there. So you're moving 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of equipment just to move a 180-pound person from A to B, and it doesn't make sense. It's unsustainable. It's bad for the environment. It uses huge amounts of resources. The impact on the financial impact of it is in the billions of unpredictability. I don't know what you guys make an hour, but if you spend 119 hours just sitting doing nothing, that's a lot of money wasted.
It's a lot of money.
And that's gas wasted, that's resources wasted. It's a huge waste. And basically that's where Trinova, and not just Trinova, I mean, there's a lot of companies around the world right now that are developing toward a more sustainable form of transportation. Unfortunately, they are all focusing on the inner city commute, but Trinova is designed for the intercity, for people like me that live in the suburbs and they work in the city and they need to get to the city fast. And that's it's basically designed for those people. I mean, on average, we spend 30 minutes in our car every day, one way. And if we can reduce that to 15 minutes, it's a lot of time saved. It's time that you can spend with your family, time that you can, an extra hour a day, you can go to the gym, get fit. How about that?
And what I think it's also a bit more than time. An interesting stat, just to round this all up, cars are parked 95% of the time.
Yes.
Cars take a ton of space. They take a lot of space. And as you said, most of the cars are driven by a single person, just a single person in there. Isn't that too much? Isn't it really too much?
It is. Yeah, we have to seriously rethink the form of transportation. And I'm not trying to take away the car. The ideal situation for Trinova is to have a family, and they purchase a nice family car, and then the husband uses the Trinova as a pure commuter vehicle. It's cheap, it's fast, it's efficient, it's fun to ride. And that's basically all you need, because now the way things are set up now is that husband and wife both are working, and then both want to have a nice car. So now you have I don't know, just to name a car, I mean, 2 Toyota Corollas or 2 Tesla 3s, Model 3s. But if one of them were to choose a Trinova, that'll allow the other vehicle to become a bigger, safer family car, if you will. Now you can go to the SUV segments and or Model Y or Cybertruck, whatever it is your heart desires, because now you have the space in the garage, and get yourself a safer family car and a good commuter car. So that the Trinova is basically for commuting. And then certainly the idea of Trinova in the future would be then to still build something that's a lot of fun. I get a lot of people online asking me, is like, well, I'm okay with my commuter car, but I want something fun for the weekend. It's like,
Yeah.
we'll make that happen.
Yeah. 2 in 1.
Yeah. 2 in 1.
Fun, efficient.
Right. And rest assured, you'll get rid of your commuter car real quick once you have a Trinova. You want to drive a car again.
Don't you worry, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, this was amazing.
Yeah, this was
Definitely
fun. Thank you.
Trinova is absolutely, definitely, Trinova is something that, as an idea, kind of looks crazy, but then you realize it's actually exactly what a modern city needs, especially a city like LA, especially living in the suburbs. Thank you so much again for joining us and everybody watching. We would love to host you again for round two sometime in the future to kind of circle back to see where you're standing, what's going on. We'll be monitoring, very, very thoroughly. And yeah, I mean, to our listeners, stay tuned for more buildings redefining how we move. And yeah, keep the charging stack. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcus.
All right.
This was
Right on.
amazing.
Thank you for your time, guys. It was an honor to be with you, and have a wonderful day.